Another year has flown by, as is the way. The older you get, the quicker it goes. It's nearly 2023, or it probably will be by the time I upload this because I'm slacking and keep uploading things late. But regardless, another year gone, so therefore I have to give out my awards. Now, I'm not going to do it as best and worst. I'm going to do it as favourite, least favourite, because at the end of the day, it's just my view on stuff. And to be honest, I haven't seen everything that's come out this year. I've missed a Marvel film. I haven't seen the new Avatar. I've missed some shows, so I think it'd be harsh for me to say best and worst when maybe there's a film out there that I haven't seen that could have been my best. So that's why I'm going to do favourite and least favourite. Now I've kept you waiting long enough. Let's get straight into the main one, the big one, my favourite film of the year. Now, I've been debating back and forth on this for a while because I've seen two films that I really, really liked, but they both came out at the start of the year, and they are The Batman and The Northman. I thought they were both great. I thought they both have rewatch value. I thought they were just badass in their own ways. You know, I think The Northman is just the most ultimate Chad movie ever, in a sense, because it's just badass. You know, this guy, he just goes on this mission and all he cares about is revenge. You know, he's willing to leave behind a wife and a baby because he wants revenge and he wants to go out like a champ. And that's what he does in the movie, and I just think that movie's badass. And then The Batman was just really, really fucking cool. The music was really cool. The cast was really cool. Just everything about the movie was really cool. However, I don't think both movies are 10/10. I don't think both movies are perfect. I didn't really like the scene in The Batman where they hinted at the Joker because I just thought it was very on the nose and ruined the flow of the movie slightly. And with The Northman, I thought there wasn't enough initial build-up before we did the time jump. Those are my two little things with those movies that I think stop them being 10/10, stop them being perfect. But for me, nothing else has really come close to those two, and for that reason, my favourite film of the year is two films, The Batman and The Northman, joint top. My least favourite film of the year, this is pretty fucking easy. Blonde. What a terrible piece of hot trash that movie was. It is the most boring, long-winded, uninteresting, disrespectful movie I think I've ever seen. Not the worst movie I've ever seen. The worst movie I've ever seen, you already know. I'm not going to say it again because I've said it too many times. But this was definitely the worst movie I saw this year. I can't believe I actually sat through it. It was like 3 hours long as well. It seemed like the director just had a sex fetish. You know, it was just a terrible, disgusting movie. I thought it was so bad. I know a lot of people also thought it was bad because it was really, really fucking bad. So yeah, Blonde is I was going to say it's the least favourite film I've seen this year. I think it's the worst movie that's come out this year. It is absolute hot trash. Now moving on to favourite TV show. This one was a little trickier. I think there's been some very, very good TV shows this year. It's definitely been a year for TV shows rather than a year for movies. And I was sort of back and forthing between two, which was Better Call Saul Season 6 and House of the Dragon. Now, when I was on my House of the Dragon, you know, when I was watching it and it was coming out, I was really on that hype train and I was thinking, damn, this could actually be better than the final season of Better Call Saul. But now that I've had time to, you know, sort of rest on it and actually think about both shows, my winner is Better Call Saul Season 6. I think it was just an impeccable finale. I think fan service in that was also very good, but it wasn't focused on fan service, and I think it all came together very nicely. It's not often that a TV show makes me cry, but that finale did. It kind of broke me a little bit, maybe because I'd been watching it for 7-8 years, however long it's been coming out at least. But yeah, I think Better Call Saul Season 6 takes the cake for me as the best, I keep saying best, my favourite TV show of the year. However, honourable mentions, I think in second place you've got to put House of the Dragon. What an incredible show. With some incredible characters. On top of that, you've got to say All of Us Are Dead, which came out at the start of the year. A very, very, very good zombie show. There's not really, I don't really think I've watched a whole lot of zombie shows apart from The Walking Dead. All of Us Are Dead, I thought was fantastic. Koreans, they just know what they're doing over there. They make some really good shit. I also want to say Peacemaker, really funny, entertaining show. I definitely rewatched that again before I watched season 2. Peacemaker was a real surprise. I think for me that's probably the biggest surprise to come out this year, that show actually slapped, and I thought it was a really, really good show. And then Andor as well, from Disney and Star Wars. I thought that was a very pleasant surprise. I expected some more cliche Star Wars TV drama, but instead we got a bit of a revamp, a bit of a reskin, you know, something that actually changed the formula. So, you know, there's 4 honourable mentions. They had to be put in there because they really, I think, challenged Better Call Saul for me this year. My least favourite TV show, the worst TV show possibly ever made, She-Hulk. What? Just a floating pile of crap. I mean, compare that to Blonde. It's hard to pick what I'd rather not re-watch. You know, if I had a gun to my head and I was, you know, tied to a chair and they put those 2 things in front of me and they said you have to pick one, I think I'd save the bullet, because I really don't want to watch either of those things ever again. They are so fucking bad. And yeah, She-Hulk was just so unfunny, so just underdeveloped by the looks of it. The CG is absolute heaping pile of shit. It was just a terrible, terrible show. Performances were pretty bad, and, you know, I just don't think it added anything to MCU. If anything, it once again made it worse, as most of Phase 4 of the MCU has. It's just made every character that we already knew worse. You know, She-Hulk made Wong worse, and it made Abomination worse, and then it also brought in a new character, She-Hulk, and made her just completely unappealing and unfunny and not someone that you ever want to rewatch on screen. And it also made Hulk worse, and the show as a whole, especially that final episode with the incredible breaking the fourth wall segment, it's trash. Absolute trash. The worst TV show I would say I've ever seen, especially when you look at it from the perspective that this is a big, expensive product. The Hulk, you know, the She-Hulk, Marvel, on Disney Plus. You know, this isn't some low budget crap that's airing on the Sci-Fi channel at 3 a.m. This is legit stuff, and it was awful. My biggest disappointment of the year has to be Obi-Wan Kenobi. This was a show that obviously I was slightly apprehensive, because it's Disney Star Wars, so you're not sure if they're gonna hit the nail on the head or if they're gonna fuck it up. It's been such a lottery with Disney Star Wars. Half the stuff is great, half the stuff is completely and entirely disappointing. Obi-Wan was one of those shows. I think they just got the story all wrong, the story they were trying to tell. They focused on all the wrong things. I don't think Princess Leia should have been a part of it. I don't think it's such a risky thing to do, you know, carrying on the story of a character with a child actor, you know, having them when they're much, much younger. I think it's so risky. Going younger in any sense and using a different actor is always a risk when you're continuing the story of a character. So yeah, I think her inclusion was very poor. And Obi-Wan in general, he just didn't get anywhere near as much screen time. As I said when I reviewed the show, I think the split should have really been 50-50 between him and Vader. You know, I don't think we really got enough Vader either, and I just don't think the story they chose was the right idea. You know, they had a lot of messing about, they had a lot of time wasting, it felt like, before they really got to some good stuff. I think there are a few good scenes in there, and I think some of the Inquisitor characters were interesting, especially the Grand Inquisitor. I thought he was probably the most interesting Inquisitor, but then they cut him out for like half the show, so I just didn't enjoy the story that much. I don't think it added anything to Obi-Wan's character, and I think it just tried to play on fan service, that show, by, you know, including little things that they knew fans would love, but then not really having a good story to go alongside it. So that's why I would say Obi-Wan Kenobi is the most disappointing show I saw this year. Well, actually, the biggest disappointment in general. That disappointment category was just for the thing that I was looking forward to. It's that. Scene of the year. Now, again, I have some honourable mentions for scene of the year, and they are all Better Call Saul scenes, really, as my honourable mentions. I really did love Nacho's monologue in episode 3 of season 6. I think that was an incredible scene, very tense, and the ending had me shocked. That's one of the few times my mouth's actually just been like, you know, after watching a scene. So that's definitely up there. Also, the very end of Better Call Saul, the final scene when they're having the cigarette and he leaves the prison. Well, she leaves the prison. I thought that was a very emotional, powerful scene and a great way to wrap up that show. But the best scene I saw in any movie or any TV show this year has to be House of the Dragon, the throne room scene, which I think was from episode 8, if I remember right. That is, of course, the scene where King Viserys shows up. He's basically a corpse at this point. He's on his last legs, but he shows up in the throne room to defend his daughter. And the music, the look on everyone's face, the shock, the fact that he gets to the throne, his crown falls off, and then his brother, who he's sort of been bickering with for, decades, helps him up, puts his crown on his head, sees him as the king. I thought it was such a great and powerful scene, and I loved rewatching it. I also loved the soundtrack, especially from that scene, and yeah, that for me is the scene of the year. And I think last year I did best game that I've played this year. Obviously it's a bit of a tricky one. I've not finished God of War. It's been hard to find the time this year to really get on it and play it and get the videos out, so I've probably barely even made a dent in the game at this point, and apart from that, nothing in terms of a new game has really done all that much for me. So I think it would be unfair to judge that game as of yet. I am enjoying it, but I can't definitively say that's the best game I played this year. I've also enjoyed The Last of Us remake. I played a bit of that on the channel. Obviously it's a game I've played many times though, but I do enjoy the remake. I think the updated graphics are nice. I think it runs very smooth, so I have enjoyed that. Lego Star Wars The Skywalker Saga, obviously a game I was really looking forward to because I'm a big kid. There's loads of Lego behind me. That's Lego Star Wars. It is what it is, right? Why grow up too fast? But I really thoroughly enjoyed The Skywalker Saga. And also one other game worth mentioning, I think, or maybe you would think it's not worth mentioning, is Elden Ring. Obviously it's a game I'm not cut out for. I played a bit of it, but I really did enjoy the atmosphere of the game. I thought the music was cool. It was very eerie. I enjoyed the combat. I enjoyed the customization. I thought it was a very good game, but it's just not something that I'm capable of playing, at least not yet. It might be something I revisit one day to properly play and try and complete. But I think it's a really impressive game from what I played of it, and I also watched a lot of gameplay of it. See, obviously this year for games, I don't think it's been the strongest year. I think it's almost a bit tricky for me to say what the best thing I've played is, but if I had to pick a favorite, something I really dedicated a lot of time to and really got into, I'd have to say Lego Star Wars The Skywalker Saga. I think it was kind of the pinnacle of Lego games and the pinnacle of especially Lego Star Wars, so that gets my vote. Now we're pretty much at the end of this, but I do want to have a little talk about music. Obviously no album this year has really done much for me. There've been a few that have come out and I've maybe picked one or two songs off the album, but there's been no album where there's been at least half the album I've really been into, so I can't really pick an album in any way. Nothing's really done much for me, but I have to say there is a song that did a lot for me. The best song I've heard this year, something that actually topped my Spotify Wrapped as the song I'd listened to the most, and it came out sort of the back end of the year, maybe 3-4 months ago, and that is New Gold by Gorillaz and Tame Impala. I think that song is just incredible. It's such a vibe. I know I just said vibe, but yeah, whatever. If you haven't listened to it, please listen to it, because it's such a great song. I think it's a song that pretty much anyone could enjoy, no matter what sort of music you're into. I just think it's such a good song. I had it on repeat loads, and yeah, my favourite song of the year, New Gold. And that was my annual awards. Usually there's a lot of pausing and stuff when I make videos, for reviews and stuff, but this I could just sort of spit away, flow out. That's probably why maybe my answers sounded drawn out and long. I don't know, I'll find out when I edit this, but either way, I think it's been a decent year for movies, but not great. I think it's been a good year, very solid year for TV shows, but there's also been some letdowns, and that's really coming from the big stuff like Marvel and Star Wars. I think they are slacking majorly at times. What's proof is that HBO don't miss. They make the best shows, and it's proven again this year with Peacemaker and House of the Dragon. And I think Netflix are doing okay as well. I think they have some decent stuff come out, but again, HBO's always the winner. Yeah, those are my annual awards for favourite and least favourite, not best and worst, favourite and least favourite. If you have any opinions on what you think was your favourite or least favourite, or the best or worst thing you've seen on the categories, please let me know. I'd be curious to know what you've seen and what you think is the best thing that you have seen this year. But yeah, it's been another fun year on YouTube. The numbers have bumped up a little bit, which is nice to see. Hopefully next year we can push on even more. I'm going to try and do better to just get some more content out more regularly. I really actually want to get ahead of the curve with video, because it's always a case of, especially when you're reviewing stuff, you review it and then you have to edit it that night and get it out. But I'd rather be a few days ahead and just sort of have a bit of a schedule going, so I'm never sort of rushing. But we'll see what I can do. But yeah, Thanks for your support this year, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye bye.